Good evening, everybody. This is DM Stewart 1981 alongside Ryu Sation, and we are bringing you a Super Mario Bros. 3 Randomizer race. This is a four-way race with Lenofus, Macobra 52, Proa 007, and Tapatio J. How you doing tonight, Ryu?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Just got home not too long ago from a good about a mile walk. Get my exercise in.
Sounds good.
I always got to get that exercise and stay hydrated.
Always a good concern. I needed to get stuff for hydration before I came in for commentary. So our restreamer tonight is .yed guy. Okay, looks like we are off, and our first world is World 6. Now, Ryu, what is randomized in this Super Mario Bros. 3 randomizer?
Well, for those who aren't familiar with it, there's actually quite a bit that gets randomized here. So the world order, except for 8 is always the last level, is randomized. As you can see, we did start in World 6 instead of in World 1 like you normally would. The levels in each of the worlds are also randomized, and that is from 1 through 8, so you could also end up with some of the hand levels while going through some of the earlier levels. You will also have the enemies in the levels be randomized. The match game items in the end card will not actually give you what is displayed. So you pull 2 stars, and you might end up with a Tanuki suit. So you won't know until you actually look at your inventory once you complete it. And then the pipes on the overworlds are also mixed up, so may not actually take you where you think it's going to. And we have a water level, always a displeasure to see.
I always hated water levels. At least it is a water level from level 6, from World 6.
Well, that's true. We do at least have a vanilla level. Not particularly sure if it's in the right position, but it is at least from the right world.
Oh, Lord, another water level, and it is the worst water level in the game.
It is filled with the electrified jellyfishes and boss basses.
This world, this level Tapatio J is in, is the reason I hate water levels in this game. More than anything else.
It could be worse. If I remember correctly, there is a water level that is filled to the brim with the electrified jellies that has an auto-scroller in it. Although I do know for the randomizer purposes, most auto-scrollers have actually been removed, so you can actually just run through them at your own pace. And we have Tapatio grabbing a star from one of the Hammer Bros.
And trying to see if there is a power-up in one of the blocks.
Meanwhile, we have Proa and Macobra going through that same water level, almost in the same spot. Kind of high five there.
And Frog Suit.
This frog suit unfortunately didn't last long, but it does at least give you an extra hit to take.
Which is not an insignificant consideration.
No, definitely not. Always having extra hits to take, especially in this particular fort. I think this is one of the nastiest forts you can actually run through.
Oh, I recognize it. I think that's from 8. I think that's the fort from 8.
I think you are correct there. And we do have all except for Macobra currently in that fort. Each of the runners are making their way through. Oh, and Tapatio almost makes it through the spikes with that star power-up.
Which it is nice if you can make it through with the star power-up, because then you can just use the invincibility star to defeat Boom Boom.
Yep, which we do actually get a little bit of a display from that. From Lenofis, as he was small Mario, so he was able to run straight through there and just take Boom Boom out with the star power-up, making that fight super trivial. Also, if you can make it through with your Fire Flower power-up, you can also just Fire Flower Boom Boom, as Macobra did here.
Yes, 5 Fire Flower shots. Okay, the level that Proa is in is from 7.
And we have our old friend Boss Bass hanging out underneath the level there, waiting to chomp him. The one thing that is terrible about having Boss Bass is it doesn't matter what your power-up level is. If he eats you, it is an instant death.
Oh, that's that level that Macobra is in. The Boss Bass level. That's the Kuribo's shoe level.
And that Kuribo shoe would actually be rather handy with all the chomps that are in there.
Yes, it is. Tapatio in one of the levels that in the vanilla game at least, if you got a certain number of coins through the level, you would get a white mushroom house that gave you a special power up.
And we have Proa and Macobra taking out their second Hammer Bros and earns them a hammer. So the hammer, unlike in the vanilla game, does allow you to break locked doors here in the randomizer as well. And you can see them use that to great effect to cut off having to do forts in order to break those locks. Ooh, and we have the money ship on Tapatio's side here. And that will earn him a hammer as well.
Halt, for the hour of the hammer is upon us.
And I believe that is Macobra's second hammer pickup from the Hammer Bros.
Proa gets a P-Wing from that hammer brother.
And I believe this is 1-2 here, or 1-3 perhaps?
1-3. It's 1-3 because you run behind and get... It's the one where you run behind and get a flute.
Which he is actually showing off how to do that, as is Macobra.
Although it doesn't give you a flute, it gives you a fire flower.
Yeah, I believe this particular flags is warpless, so we won't be seeing any flutes. And Tapatio is showing off the use of the raccoon tail
in World 1 Fortress.
And that will earn them a leaf.
Fortress.
Alright, so Lenofis was able to pull one item from the end card there. Didn't quite catch what it was, though.
And Tapatio finds a hand level. The Hammer Brother hand level.
And hand levels are always quick, and they do earn you an item. So lots of hammers being picked up early on between the Hammer Bros fights and some of these levels here. And we also see that Lenofis did also pick up a P-Wing. The P-Wing, of course, is the item that gives you infinite P-Speed, making it very easy to fly over levels without having to worry about anywhere to charge up that P-Speed.
And the our runners are in 1-5, I believe.
We have
TJ in one of the fortresses that I don't recognize.
I want to say that might be World 7, perhaps?
That could be. One of those worlds that I never really played. World 5 ground fort, according to our chat.
All right, thank you, Chad, for helping us out with that one.
Thank you so much.
Ooh, and we have a one hit. So that is also something that's randomized, is the Koopalings, their hits that it takes to take them out is also randomized. I believe it is anywhere from 1 to 5 health on those. And Makobra picking up a star power just before the fight. That'll make the fight super trivial for him, even if it was only one hit. And our second world is going to be World 7, the World of Pipes. So we might see a pipe lead directly to the end, or we might seem to have to do some work to get through here. We can see the infamous block clip here letting you skip this level on Tapatio's side.
If he can get it to work. Although, it's so much faster, even missing it several times is so much faster than doing the level itself.
Oh yeah, you can definitely miss that quite a few times and still get through it even faster than it would take to go through this level. It's one of my least favorite levels, especially with the enemy sets that you might find here.
And
Makobra nails it.
Makobra's got it. Tapatio says, forget it, I'm just going to fly over it.
Well, that is certainly another way of doing that, and the Nophis will be completing his first world. Also uses the star power that he picked up to do so.
And this is one of the World 7 version of the Hammer Brothers. It was a fixed level, or I think it is. Yes, it's a fixed level, but it's the levels with the if you noticed the chompers on the map, the chomper levels are the World 7 equivalent of Hammer Brothers.
And with all the chompers and the piranhas plants that come up, it is definitely a tricky level to navigate, especially if you're small Mario. But it will earn them a P-Wing. And we have Lenofis clearing out quite a few tiles of his cart, so he'll be picking up a few items here. Looks like might have been a music box as one of those items. And he's going to skip the block clip and just go through the level normally here.
Well, he's small. He's small Mario, so he can't do the block clip. You have to.
Oh, that is true.
To do the block clip.
So he'll be showing off why this is one of the slowest levels, because you have these blocks that you have to float up on and wait. Can't really speed this level up any at all. We have Tapatio and Pro both going and defeating their Boom Boom, which Makobra just completed himself as well. So that will give them access to one more pipe. We can see if that'll take them to the end or if it's going to take them somewhere else they don't want to be. Actually, that will get them pretty close to the end here. So this will be a quick World 7. And the Nofis showing off how you can break the key doors with hammers and skipping going through the fort. On that,
Macobra in one of the giant world levels.
and definitely seeing a lot of boss bass around here.
Yeah, a lot more boss bass than anyone really wants to see.
Oh, Macobra going through, I believe that's the level I was referring to earlier, which will have quite a few of those electrified
Yes.
jellyfish in it.
Yes, it is.
And then we have the mom bass who spits out a little cheep cheep at you. Thankfully, it is not an auto-scroller.
Yes. I always thought cheap cheap was exactly the right word for it, because it's just so cheap.
And we have Tapatio also going through the world, has a little bit more of a power-up as he does have the Fire Flower to get through it. As Pro enters that level as well.
So let me say, if you are enjoying this race thus far, and I know I am, why don't you give these runners a follow? They have all graciously agreed to be restreamed for you. And Macobra is in the Bowser's Air Force level.
Oh, and he has a sun with him. Oh, that is a terrible enemy to see.
Oh yeah, on Lenofis' screen, that sun in a fortress is not a good one.
But he makes it through as Small Mario, which is definitely no easy feat, especially when you have an angry sun floating around.
And Macobra into another one of those Chomper levels.
Which Tapatio is entering himself now as well. There is actually a nice trick you can do using a music box along with a cloud to actually skip both that fort and this level here. Unfortunately, nobody does have a cloud, and I believe the only one I've seen with a music box is Lenofis. And this looks like World 1 airship?
Yes, that is World 1 airship. Now, are the Koopa Kids randomized as far as what Koopa Kid is in what world?
Yes, they will be. And also their abilities, if I remember correctly, get randomized as well. Some of the Koopalings do have the ability to stomp on the ground, which will freeze Mario or Luigi, depending on which one they're playing, for a couple of seconds. I believe that's randomized as well on if they have that ability. And as chat pointing out that was a 5 HP on that Koopaling. Unfortunately, I don't have their names memorized, so I won't be able to tell you which one was which.
That was a bit of the old Ludwig van.
Ah, good old Ludwig. And we enter World 4.
World 4 being... No, World 3, I think.
Oh, was that World 3? You could be correct there.
It's Water World, which is 3, I think.
Oh, and Lenofis making great use of his P-Wing there. Saved him from that pit of doom there. Tapatio doing a great job of clearing out that end card, so he'll be getting quite a few items there.
I could be wrong on that, though. It could be... It could very well be World 4 Giant Land. Okay, it is World 4. It is Giant Land, not Water World.
Yeah, World 3, if I remember correctly, as stated in chat, has quite a bit more water. It's also the one that has the little boats you can float around in with the bridges, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that I do remember.
So we have Tapatio making great use of the hammer, as well as I believe Makobra did the same thing, skipping a fair amount of the level, and we have one of the World 2 levels.
Yes, we have and a desert Hammer Brothers encounter.
We'll see Makobra picking himself up a Tanuki suit.
I want to say that level was 2-5. But and that Tanuki suit is the real top tier.
And Tapatio making good use of his star power-ups to take out these Hammer Bros easily without wasting his power-up. And we have another World 2 level over on Makobra's side, as we have, I believe this is a World 3 level on Tapatio's side here.
It is. It's the level that you originally get to see Boss Bass in.
And thankfully it looks like no Boss Bass, just some Cheep. I'm sure he is certainly happy to see that there is no Boss Bass in that level, as the raising and lowering of that level makes it rather easy for them to eat you. And we have our first cloud on Makobra's side.
We've got Lenophis working his way through the fortress.
And meanwhile, Makobra has entered a fortress. Not sure on which one that is. And Tapatio will be heading into that same fortress as well. And both Lenophis and Makobra almost in sync completing their forts that they were doing.
I want to say maybe that's World 5 Sky Fortress? No, it's not World 5 Sky Fortress. That has lava on the top. It's an airship number 2 on Makobra's side.
Ooh, and we have another 5-hit Koopaling fight. We'll be seeing Tapatio not far behind Makobra finishing up that fight as well. And Lenophis picking up his Tanuki suit. See if he'll actually clear up some more of these. Nope, doesn't look like he wants any more Hammer Bros. And finally, we see World 2. So our fourth world is World 2 here. And he's making great use of those hammers he picked up to skip pretty much all that level after going through a pipe. And wow, runs instantly into a boss bass, but was able to take it out with that fire flower.
Pretty much the
but not that one.
level skipped.
And Tapatio doing the same thing, skipping most of World 2. See if he has better luck with the boss bass as Makobra runs into the giant Boomerang Bros.
And we keep getting all the boss bass.
And we have our first boss bass death from Makobra there. He got the first one with the fire flower, but that second one was having none of it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he's able to stay elevated on a good portion of this level, which keeps him away. Oh, but the paratrooper gets him just before he could get that star power up.
And I do recognize that particular level as being a level out of World 7.
And only a 3-hit Koopaling this time. So we've had a 1-hit, 2 5-hits, now a 3-hit. And all of our runners in sync, completing their respective levels. So Proa and Lenophis will be heading to World 2, and Macobra and Tapatio will be giving us a glimpse of what our World 5 will be. And there's our World 3 water level. Or water world, rather.
Yes, there's Waterworld. I hope it's better than the Kevin Costner movie.
Ooh, don't remind me of that movie.
Yeah, it was a funny thing about Kevin Costner. He's either great or he's unwatchable. And we're getting ice. We're getting ice levels.
Pro making his way quickly through World 2, so unfortunately we don't get to see a lot of what World 2 has to offer. And yes, our chat noting that there was no God Pipe or a freeway through our World 3 here, so they'll have to clear quite a few of these levels. And of course, with each level completion, the bridges will raise and lower themselves, and oh man, we have another level with a sun in it.
And we have Lenophis in one of the World 8 levels.
It seems he's choosing to keep his hammer, or he may not have any more. I know he did use quite a few of them already, but he had a few as well. Oh, and it's just a cloud here. That hammer would have helped him out if he would have got a hammer here. And this looks to be
a Sky World level with a Kuribo's shoe in it on Macobra's side.
Yeah, this is one of the World 5 Sky levels.
Meanwhile, Lenophis in a World 4 Giant World level.
And I believe Proa is actually in one of the levels that is usually an auto-scroller, but has been removed for the randomizer, while we have Macobra going through one of the tank levels, which Tapatio just entered as well.
Yes, Bowser's Armored Division.
Yep, there's the tanks, there's the naval.
And chat points out the Angry Sun seems like an improvement on the usual 3-8.
That's to be debated. Depends on how you feel about the original 3-8 enemies. It seems Macobra not happy with the pipes he was taking, so he's going to go ahead and take the early pipe that will bring him all into the other side of World 3. As does Tapatio as well.
Into one of the ice worlds.
He does make quick work of it, though.
Well, the ice physics in this particular game aren't that bad.
And we'll have Proa taking a shot at our...
Taking a shot at Wendy.
Yep. Ooh, and that is a mean Wendy. Yeah, chat knowing that is a thick Wendy, causing the ground to shake. Pro able to stay enough above the ground that he was not affected by it, though.
Uh-oh. Oh, good. The airships don't move in the randomizer. In the vanilla game, if you die on an airship, the airship will move to a random spot on the map. Meanwhile, Macobra is in one of the World 2 fortresses.
And we have Proa, who has entered our World 5 now. And he's going through... Oh, I don't recognize that level. So the interesting thing about World 5 is once you do reach that tower, the tower will always take you up to Skyworld. There was no way of being able to randomize that, as it does have to take you to Skyworld in order to be able to complete World 5.
So the tower level we get is guaranteed to be the normal level?
Correct. The tower is always tower because it has to take you up to Skyworld. And we have both Macobra and Tapatio taking care of their Wendies. Meanwhile, Lenophis has entered World 3. So Macobra and Tapatio will be joining Proa in World 5 now. Haven't actually seen too many of the hand levels. Mind you, there has been quite a few levels that have been skipped as well, especially in World 2, as we only saw one level there.
Yes, that's true. We've seen one hand level, we've seen both of the Chomper levels, and two of the Bowser's military levels. And one of the other World 8 levels.
And Lenophis getting him a 5-up by collecting 3 star cards, which he was rather low on his life, so I can't blame him for getting that there.
It does take a little time, but it's less time than a game over would cost.
Thankfully, he had just entered the world, so if he were to have game overed, he wouldn't have lost any progress.
And you said we haven't seen many hand levels. There's a second hand level that just happened on Macobra's side.
And as we have seen 6 of our levels, we now know that World 7 is going to be World 1. Meanwhile, we have Proa, I believe, is in the Sky Tower.
Yes, that is Sky Tower.
And he'll be able to utilize a hammer to quickly get into the fort, which will be Bowser's Navy.
Which it is so much better to do that and not have to wait through the auto scroller.
Oh yeah, the auto scrollers are definitely a nice quality of life improvement, not having to do them. Oh, and getting just a mushroom from the Hammer Bro fight there on Makobra's side. And we have yet another boss bass.
In one of the desert levels. There's a desert level I didn't immediately recognize, so it might be one that I usually skip. Or that I always used to skip.
Well, if I remember correctly, there were some unused levels in Super Mario Bros. 3 that never made it into the final cut. That for the purposes of the randomizer were added in. And we, once again, on Pro's side, we have another boss bass in one of the giant levels.
Oh, Lord, tonight's... Oh, according to our restreamer, the tie-dyed guy, we do have 13 other racers in this race besides the 4 that are on stream.
As stated, it is actually quite a popular randomizer. I've given it a try a couple of times myself. Unfortunately, I'm just not that good at the Marios.
I have not given Mario 3 Randomizer a try. I have still never beaten Super Mario Bros. 3.
Well, I did beat it quite a few times as a kid, but I have yet to beat a randomizer of it. And Pro will take out his World 6 boss, and we'll be heading on to our final world, World 1.
Proa takes out Roy Koopa.
Oh, and Makobra taking an unfortunate death, not to the boss bass, but to a Koopa here. And he's going to just say, I'm just going to cloud through this and skip quite a bit here. Can't blame him for wanting to make up some lost time there.
That is a level that's in the regular game. That level that Makobra was in there. It's not a level that was on the cutting room floor. Because I do recognize it. Because I recognize that area where he died to the Koopa.
Okay. Speaking of dying, Lenofa's taking a death here as well. And Makobra will be finishing off his Roy and be heading into level 1, joining Proa. And Tapatio not far away, but he's going to grab a Koopa first. Or a Hammer Bro, rather. Or in this case, Fire Bro.
And the level that Proa was in there was the Ice World Auto Scroller.
Pro getting a bit of an easy level here, even if he does have a Lakitu throwing Spinies down on his head. And Makobra finding another water level and has a blooper chasing him down there. Thankfully, he is able to get up to the top of the level and skip a large portion of it, making that level a lot easier than it normally would be.
This is the World 5 Fire Fortress, or Cloud Fortress, I believe, that Proa is in right now.
I gotta say, I don't envy him having to do that fortress. That is not a fun fortress. And Tapatio takes down his Roy, so he'll be joining Makobra and Proa in World 1.
So our Randomania family of channels, starting in a few minutes, and when we finish up this race, y'all should go and watch the Zelda 2 Max Rando Tournament is going on.
And it looks like Makobra is in, I want to say that's possibly the World 6 airship?
It's an airship I don't recognize. With a bunch of screw lifts.
Ooh, and another 1 HP Koopaling. So it makes quick work of that fight.
And
World 7, okay.
Proa is in the 1-4 World 1 auto scroller.
And he tries to head for the castle, but has to deal with the Koopa Bro first. Or a Hammer Bro, but ends up being the Fire Bros fight.
Ends up being the Fire Bro fight and the World 4 Giant World backdrop.
So we have Macobra, our first player to enter World 8. Both Tapatio and Proa not going to be far behind, though. Meanwhile, we have Lenophis, who is making his way through World 5.
Macobra is in the start of World 8. The tank level equivalent is one of the it's from I think 6.
Let's see if he gets a useful pipe, or
No,
if he's going to have to
7.
traverse a lot of this world. Ooh, and we have the World 2 Pyramid level here on Macobra's side.
Pyramid was always a pretty easy level. At least I thought I found it an easy level.
And if I remember correctly, there were some changes in this level specifically that were, rather, some things that were not randomized in order to keep it being possible. So I believe the Buzzy Beetles were kept not randomized. Otherwise, you have no way of getting through without having a raccoon tail.
Well, that makes sense.
Alright, so we have Tapatio making his way through the pipes, deciding he doesn't want it, so he heads on to the Navy level.
Which is one of the fortresses, I think. Gets him a Tanuki suit.
I believe this. Yes, this is the fortress that you absolutely have to have a raccoon tail to get through. And making good use of his Tanuki suit, turning into stone on top of that Boom Boom to take him out. And actually missing if Cobra got the I can't remember how many frames you have to do it, but I missed seeing if he got the trick where you can go through one of the doors and then go back through it again, and takes you to Boom Boom. I don't believe he got it.
It's not very many frames, and I don't think he did.
Well, he is crossing over the hand levels now, and he gets caught on hand level 3.
Which is 2-5, I think.
And it's definitely one of the World 2 levels. Thankfully, with having the desert, they're fairly easily recognizable. And kind of clips into an edge there. I'm not sure how he did that. And not bad. Only one of the hand levels catching him there. And chat noting that the hand bridge was required. There were no pipes taking you away from it. And Tapatio also not getting the door trick. Wow, and no hands for Proa. And Lenofa is just about ready to finish up World 5 here.
And that is a kind of an infamous fortress that we see Proa in.
And we have our restreamer.
Like we have a winner. When Chuck attacks in an official SRL time of 42:56.
And chat noting that Tapatio also had a no-hand run, so we have two of the runners having no hands. And Macobra only getting caught by number 3, so not bad at all.
Look, Ma, no hands.
Yeah, those hand levels can definitely troll you, as it is random if you're going to be grabbed by one or not. You can get none, you can get one, or you can get all of them. And we have our second place finisher, Paraduck64, with an official time of 44:56.
Meanwhile, Macobra is in to Bowser's castle.
Yep. And he does have his hammer suit, so he'll make quick work of that Bowser, and he will be finishing here. As Proa joins him in Bowser's castle as well, and Tapatio will be making his way there shortly. So we have Macobra, our first featured runner, finishing with an official time of 46:12. And Tapatio and Proa both making their way through Bowser's fortress. As we have Lenofis completing... I can't remember what world he was in.
5, I believe.
Yeah, that's 5. Right, he was in 5. And Proa gets his Hammer Bro suit finish, finishing with an official time of 47 minutes even.
Tapatio into the Bowser fight with his Hammer Brother suit. Tapatio gets a good finish up.
Oh, and Tapatio just barely getting sniped by Human Mustard with 47:12. Tapatio finishes 2 seconds later with a 47:14. And Raikou Rider finishing in 7th place with a 47:22 just 8 seconds later as well. Yeah, not a bad finish at all with
the difference between... no, Lenofis misses the pipe.
Oh, that's a feels bad man moment right there. Yeah, so our first place finisher with a 42:56, and then to 7th place with a 47:22. So less than 5 minutes between 1st and 7th place finishes. That's not bad at all.
I would call that very good. Give these runners a follow if you've been enjoying this race. Please give them a follow.
And we'll have the notice. Go ahead.
Also, give our hardworking restreamer, the tie-dyed guy, a follow. And also, that Reusation guy has been doing good work, I hear.
And definitely my co-commentator here keeping me on point with these levels, as not as familiar as I'd like to be with them. DM Stewart 1981. And the Nofus making his way through World 1 here. Meanwhile, Tapatio throwing a little bit of swag on the stream there.
Hey, if you can't have fun doing it, why bother?
So we have 7 so far out of our 13 entrants finished. So we do still have, aside from Lenofus, we have another 5 entrants. And of course, if you enjoyed watching this and would like to know how you can participate yourself, well, we have the link to the randomizer as well as the SMB3 randomizer Discord, where if you have any questions about the game or about the randomizer or any suggestions as well, you can definitely feel free to join the Discord to talk about it, get a little bit of help with your run going through the randomizer, as well as if you have any ideas for it. I'm sure they are more than happy to take any ideas and see if it might happen to fit in.
And thank you to all of you guys in chat who were keeping both of us on point. Because I know I'm not as knowledgeable about Super Mario Bros. 3 as I would like to be, or as I used to be.
I can definitely understand that. Myself personally, wow. Last time I played Super Mario Bros. 3 was when I still had a Nintendo Entertainment System. That was probably about 15 years ago. The fact that I can still remember what World 1 and 2 are, since those are the ones you get to see the most of any, is still a surprise for me.
Oh, it's been longer than that since I had a working NES. And that was the last I really played SMB3. Well, I played it some on the Mario All-Stars cart.
Oh, that is true. I did play it probably more recently on the Mario All-Stars. I will say this, I've played Lost Levels a lot more recently than I've played the vanilla Super Mario Bros. 3.
Well, Lost Levels is interesting. What about Doki Doki Panic?
I have not played Doki Doki Panic. I was never very good at that one. I've seen quite a few races of that recently, though.
Well, US Super Mario Brothers 2.
Correct, which there is also a randomizer for that one as well.
So there are randomizer communities for almost any game, for almost any classic game out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. There is plenty of randomizer communities. There was more randomizers than I even knew existed, and I've only learned recently how many there actually were.
And a lot of randomizers, you will find a lot of these randomizers broadcasting on the Randomizer Mania family of channels.
That is true. We have Z1 and Z2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins,
Dragon Warrior.
There's definitely Dragon Warrior Randomizer. I actually have played Super Mario Land 2. That's actually quite an interesting randomizer and rather fun, actually. Never even played the vanilla game. So if you like randomizers, definitely give the Randomania network channels a follow. Randomania 1, 2, 3, and 4, respectively. as there are constantly every day, typically there are randomizer races, weekly races, tournament races, league races, and just about anything randomizer you could want.
Yep, pretty much. As we start to finish up this race, as we get toward the finish of this race, I'll remind everybody that there is a Zelda 2 Max Rando tournament race just starting on Randomizer Mania 2. This level that Lenofis is in, I believe, is one of those cutting room floor levels.
Yes, you are correct. That was definitely one of the cutting room floor levels that was added back into the randomizer. It's actually a fun level and very easy to go through. All right, we'll see if Lenofis can get the... Nope, he just goes straight for the door. So Lenofis will be finishing up his World 8s here soon. Meanwhile, we do have our 8th place finisher, which was Justin Man 114 with a 55.19, and a 9th place finisher. My apologies if I say the name wrong, but Morietta with a 55.40. And then Leslie Pro 04 with a 56.01.
I didn't know Leslie Pro ran this.
Well, that's the nice thing about randomizers is it gets people who normally haven't played the game or don't play the game into it. Myself, with Final Fantasy IV, was never one into the speedrunning of it, but ever since I learned there was a randomizer for that, I have actually been playing the free Enterprise randomizer quite a bit. Same goes for Dragon Warrior randomizer. Never really played the vanilla game much, other than when I was a kid, but ever since learning there's a randomizer, well, same story.
Well, randomizers breathe new life into old games.
That they do, and that is the beauty of it. And Lenofis got caught by the first hand level and the third hand level so far. Oh, he dies in world the hand level 3 and gets a second try at it, and he'll be going into hand level 5 now.
Which looks like another one of those cutting room floor levels.
And unfortunately, he takes death in that one and is right back to 3, and oh, he'll take another death in 3.
Oh, that's rough.
And we have our 11th place finisher, which is, again, I apologize if I butcher this, but Clarisse Datcom with a 57.45. And then Nofis does get through level 3, but then gets snagged in level 5 again on the hand levels. Gotta say, I'm not recognizing those flying turtle shells there.
Oh, I recognize the flying turtle shells. They're from one of the Skyworld levels. But this is not... That was a cutting room floor level.
Well, he does make his way through it, so he'll be heading on into... I forget which one this was. And our restreamer noting that hand luck. And unfortunately, he did not get the same luck that Pro and Tapatio did with 0 hand levels, or even Makoba with only 1 hand level.
Well, it's a 50-50 chance that you'll get picked up by a hand for a hand level.
Unfortunately, the luck just was not with him there. And S Diesel in 12th place with a 59.26. So aside from our featured runner Lenofis, we do still have another 4 runners who are still finishing up here.
And Lenofis into his final boom boom fight.
So he'll be making his way into Bowser's Fortress and getting to finish up here soon. And he does so with a frog suit. Might as well use him while you got him.
Frog suit Bowser Castle swag.
Unfortunately, that does mean, since he doesn't have a Hammer Bros suit, he's going to have to take the normal way of taking out Bowser.
Well, it's the way most people know how to do it, so...
It's just a nice, quick and easy finish if you can bring a Hammer Bros suit to him.
Or even Fireballs, or even Fire Mario.
Oh, that's true. But in this case, he'll be having to use the vanilla way, where you stand still and you wait for Bowser to try and plummet down on top of you, and eventually break the blocks until he falls through. And gives a little hop off of Bowser there.
And Tapatio continuing to put a little bit of swag on his stream.
Alright, and Lenofis almost done with his Bowser fight.
Hopefully is one more Bowser jump away.
And he'll finish with an official SRL time of 102.52.
That's a great job to all of our racers, whether they were on stream or not. If you've enjoyed this race, give these guys a follow. Follow the Randomizer Mania family of channels. Keep your eyes open for more great randomizer content.
And speaking of great randomizer content, we do have the Max Rando race with Unos and Rose City Saint, which is going on Randomania 2 right now. Then for tomorrow, we do have quite a lineup for you. Starting at 2 p.m. on Randomania, we have Super Mario Land 2 Randomizer League with Oh Dear and Rave Tuba. Then on Randomizer Channel 2 at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, we have another Zelda 2 Max Rando tournament with King Doll and JJ Schmidt. And following after that, at 4 p.m. on Random Mania Channel 1, a Legend of Zelda Randomizer Battle Royale between Panzer Dave and Sis Crusher. And then to round off the night at 9 p.m. on Random Mania, a second Zelda 2 Adventure Link Max Rando tournament with Amazing Toaster and Ryan 7.
That sounds like a great day full of great randomizer content.
Definitely plenty of content to see. For a full schedule, you can click the link there in chat, which will give you a full schedule and lineup of what we have to come. Once again, my co-commentator, DM Stewart, along with our restreamer, the Tie-Dye Guy, I am Ryu Station. Hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you all on the next randomizer. For now, we'll be taking you over to the Unos and Rose City Saints Zelda 2 Max Randomizer Tournament.
Good night, everybody.